Now, over the last 2 nights, our 11 Investigates team has brought you the story of Nancy Eagleson, the 14-year-old Paulding girl who was murdered in 1960.
No one has ever been charged in the case that stripped away the innocence in the small western Ohio village. Tonight, we bring you what we found related to Nancy's murder.
And as you will see, we believe there is reason for hope that this case could one day be solved. Lead investigator Brian Duggar picks up the story.
You know who gets lucky in these cases? The killer. The victim doesn't get lucky. She didn't get lucky at all that night. Nothing went her way.
For decades, Nancy Eagleson's murder has haunted the village of Paulding.
I started having nightmares.
14-year-old Nancy Eagleson was scooped up off the street near her home, raped, murdered, and left in woods outside of town in November of 1960. Her younger sister Cheryl witnessed Nancy being dragged away, and because of that night, the nightmares are still vivid.
And I would actually chase my sister down the road and ask her who killed her. Because I knew in my heart that was the only one that could tell me who it was.
I was within 10 feet of the car.
But during our investigation, we found another possible witness.
I know the shape of the car, I know the shape of the taillights, I know what the seats look like, and I think she was going to make a move to the front door, but he grabbed her and pulled her the rest of the way over. Then she got up, and he pulled her down again by the hair, and she never came back up.
He says they were spotted by the man and the killer took off. His Corvair couldn't keep up.
It happened so fast.
He says he went to Sheriff John Keeler, but that report doesn't exist. He believes he saw a police car, and the absence of the report, according to him, proves the sheriff wanted to bury his information.
Oh, they've never called me, asked me nothing. And there's a good reason, because they knew who did it.
There are a lot of local people who have developed the opinion that John Keeler is responsible for covering this crime up. And I didn't know John Keeler from the Man in the Moon, but I can't think professionally that anybody would be corrupt enough to try to do something like that.
In fact, there was a lot of evidence that was initially collected. But now that early evidence is gone.
So there's a lot of ways that these things can be lost. Am I excusing that? No, nobody would excuse that. Sheriff Landers doesn't excuse that.
To lose evidence in a homicide case that's, regardless if it's solved or concluded, is just irresponsible. You know, shoes and purse and just things of that nature would be physical evidence that we should still today have in our possession, and we don't.
A lot came up missing. We don't know where it's at. We don't know if it'll ever turn up. But we've waited all this time, and it's since 1985 when I went to the Sheriff's Department. They didn't have it. We know it's not there since then.
A Paulding County judge revived hopes of a family searching for answers in a 1960 murder today. The judge approved the request of Nancy Eagleson's family to exhume her body to search for DNA evidence.
You've done a great job. Thank you so much. I didn't want to exhume her. I didn't want to do that at all, but I knew it was the last thing to give her the justice she deserves.
The heart-wrenching gamble paid off. Shockingly, a bullet was found in the casket in late October. A second autopsy done in Toledo changed the cause of death to multiple gunshots. Now that the bullet has been found, the gun is the key piece of missing evidence.
I've got what I think is the gun that killed her.
While talking to Roanhouse, he made an unexpected claim.
I've got it sitting in the office in a plastic bag. Ta-da! Haven't had it out for a while. The guy I got it from told my sister at a class reunion that he had the gun. It could be the murder weapon because somebody sold it to him 2 weeks after that happened. He said, I have to get rid of this gun.
And that gun appears to be a .22 caliber, the same caliber used to kill Nancy.
Other stuff has disappeared. It ain't going anywhere until it gets to people who's going to test it.
And it will be tested. After being told by 11 Investigates of Roanhouse's statements, a BCI agent picked up the gun, and it will be compared to the bullet in Nancy's casket, possibly providing a break in the 62-year-old mystery.
I believe there's hope. I won't ever give that up. So that's all I can do is just ask if anyone has anything, please come forward. Find it in your heart to come forward and tell us.
It would be wonderful to give her some closure after a traumatic 62 years. A lot of people have been working on this case for that 62 years. Where does this investigation go from here, do you think?
Yeah, we need to get that evidence tested. And I talked to the sheriff earlier today, and you know, the evidence when they exhumed the body back in October, they got some fibers, they got that bullet, but it's kind of stuck in the BCI lab. It's just been sitting there since October. But the sheriff is hopeful because we now have the gun that they want to compare to that bullet. He's hoping that they kind of expedite the testing.
And that whole exchange, just to bring people up to speed, that was random, right? That you guys were in there interviewing that man, and he said, I've got something to show you.
It was completely random. I mean, we knew that he had been telling people that he had witnessed a crime, but we did not know that he actually thinks that he has a murder weapon. At one point he said, as you saw there, I think I have the murder weapon. And I actually said, what? Can you repeat that?
Yeah.
You said you had the murder weapon? And he's like, yeah, it's in my office.
Yeah.
And I mean, it really was surreal. And then he goes into his office and would not let us come back into the office, which, you know, I don't really know anything about this guy other than he's going to get a gun. And so, I mean, we were a little worried.
Well, it sounds like you really cracked something open here. Look forward to hearing more about it. Thanks, Brian. All three parts of our series can be found on WTOL.com and our WTOL 11 YouTube page. If you have information on the case, reach out to the Paulding County Sheriff's Department.